Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei, Al Bob, here to tell you a story. And it's always good to see you. And I've been on the air. Here it is, April something, 21st maybe, and we're heading towards May, and May, I think 18th of 2018 is when I started my YouTube channel. So 19, 20, 21, 22. So that's almost 4 years, give or take. And pretty much the first year, I was just, figuring out what YouTube was and how it was. And I just talking to you. And, I was grooving on the fact that I could talk to somebody, in the chat. So, you guys have gotten used to me. You've gotten your own watching characteristics. Many of you just use me as wallpaper, and I don't have the cash funding or monetary backing to do a long-term show. When I was at the school and had access to a really good internet and could do it as many times as I wanted for as long as I wanted, could do that. But now, not so much. I have to catch as catch can on the bop at Wi-Fi's here and there. So that's kind of where it is. But first and foremost, I want to thank those who have put something in the PayPal, and it works. There's 4 of you who give me, between 10 and 20 bucks every month, and that's just enough. I just had my car serviced. I just had my back gates, a little hydraulic gizmo, 32 bucks a piece, and another 40 bucks to have them put in. And but I nearly chopped my head off the other day, so I said I gotta fix this. So I did. And but now I can't, really have not, I have to go through the couch cushions looking for spare change to buy. I just bought some eggs. The guy said, "Well, they're going up by $2." So I bought, they were $1.99. They used to be 82 cents last year, and then they're at $1.99 now. And at Walmart's, they used to be for 40 eggs. It used to be $2.80. Now it's $7. And it did that. I mean, there were no eggs for Easter. Oh, everyone said no eggs for Easter. Everyone's bought them all out for Easter eggs. I said, I don't think so. And it came back up like $4 more than they were 2 weeks ago. And that's just the mark of the beast. What's happening in Ukraine is happening in the United States. It's happening everywhere. We're just not seeing it. And what happened there there's no point in reason for what's going on in the Ukraine, and that's because we are not seeing the real motivation. It's not some big nasty Russia going after little helpless Ukraine. No, and it's not the big nasty EU was forcing NATO on all these other little countries, and that was an existential threat to Russia. No, there's a lot bigger things going on here, right? And so and everyone who has their opinion has their opinion, and like I say, having your opinion is like having an anal port. Everyone has one. So and every opinion has something good in it, and I'm watching people destroy themselves from the inside out, and realizing, look at that. I mean, in this little, the rich are coming in. I have to get away from California, which I can sin, and they're bringing that insanity here. Oh, New Jersey soda, they're bringing that here, and boop, 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 boop. Oh, who is this? Doop, 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 doop. Oh, there he is. Hey there, Red. What's shaking, baby?
I was watching you the other day. You had this nifty hat on, this headgear. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, I'm becoming a Borg.
I noticed.
Yes, I'm becoming Borg. No, my eyes are just going, and I was like, going through. I have the magic box. Whatever I need, it's there, right? So I was going through the magic box, and bang! And this is one of those things like guys who make models,
Yeah.
and it's like the Ben Franklin glasses. It's like all different kinds of lenses, so you can. I could go to the eye doctor and they stick your head in that thing and they swivel the little lenses down. Well, that's what that thing is, and it works pretty good.
Well, I thought you were dealing cards and being a bank teller and building Revell models. I mean,
all the above. All the
all
above.
the above. Yeah, that's just like wow.
Right.
You know?
Right. So I'm just, observing what's going on in the outer limits. Yeah, the other day I was in what is known as Elizabethton, which is near Johnson City, and I came, we're in election time, and so they were voting today. This whole week they're voting, and I saw this one guy. He's been there on the corner for like weeks with his little sign and waving at people. So I decided, I got a moment. It was a beautiful day. I stopped, and I wanted to know, what he thought about what was going on and what was the state of democracy. And he was quite an interesting guy. And he said the most important thing in democracy is that everybody votes. And I said, well, that's right, but shouldn't we also hold the people we vote for their feet to the fire? He said, oh yeah. I said, but then nobody does that, and that's why we have the best legislators money can buy. And he kind of laughs and says, you're right. And so we had this really good conversation. And he says, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. I'm doing this because I'm being my best. And that's what I've been going on about for the last year, being your best. And there was a guy who represented it.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And he was like, he didn't like any of the politicians. He voted for Trump, but he didn't like Trump. He just kind of held his nose and thought this guy would shake things up, which it did, but he didn't realize it would shake it up the way it did. And but he is not, some elite intellectual. He's just a guy in that town. So
what's his name?
What was his name? He told me his name. I'd have to. I forgot. But it was just John Smith. He was. Remember that movie, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? It was like that.
Well, you observed him and he merited your attention, and I don't even know what the term democracy means anymore because it's been so abused. It doesn't really mean anything. It means other things.
Well, the real sad thing is that it never meant what it was supposed to mean in the beginning.
Well, I have to agree with that.
Right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But as I was watching that poker hat, are your eyes failing that bad?
Yes, but it's more the thing that's failing. It's not the diabetes. It's just I need to get the operation where they get rid of the glaucoma.
Are they going to be able to do this for you?
Oh yeah, I just have to figure out finances and time to do it, and there's no one to drive me to the place and drive me back.
Now, is this in Tennessee?
Yeah, I could do it in Tennessee or Virginia, so I'm weighing which one to do it. I'm going to go see my Virginia guy. But what's really interesting is because of the beauty of AI and computers, Tennessee can go, well, you got your healthcare everywhere. Yeah, I mean, go visit this guy in blah, 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 blah. I said, well, because there is no healthcare in any one place. I have to go to different people where I can get taken care of. Well, that's not our problem.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, it's like, the VA, I chased through that system for 6 years.
Right.
And you had one rabbit hole and another and all these people. And I'm running across Vietnam veterans, not with gray hair, white hair.
Right.
Still getting the runaround.
Right. Yep.
And this has been a long time ago. And those guys were treated like dirt.
So why doesn't and that was my little question to the man on the street. I said, so everyone kind of knows how bad it is. How come no one steps up? How come no one says, "Screw this, we're going to, in our own little neighborhood, organize"? Because that's the only way any of this is going to change.
Well, it has to start from the bottom up because the top is not going to do anything at all.
Right.
They're just going to ignore it.
And then, at a certain point, they're going to declare martial law.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
Right. And all the paperwork is already in. It's not like they have to, have it's like a light switch.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Well, the big thing right now is starving the country. So we're blocking all the fertilizer from getting to our farmers to starve our people, and we're doing that. And see, there's a lot of food processing plants that are being burned to the ground.
Right.
These just amazing fires during the week. And the latest casualty was a salad processing plant in Salinas, California.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's our food chain is just being systematically destroyed.
Plus, it was always on a wing and a prayer. That whole motif of having it there just in time was never a good idea.
No, it wasn't. There's a lady out here throwing balls with a German Shepherd. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, dogs and their owner is always fun to watch.
It is. Well, she's got a male and a female, and they're beautiful, beautiful dogs. My son, German Shepherd, I know he'd love to have a dog, but my wife is just not keen on that at this time.
No, and the bottom line is, my mom was a dog person. My dad was okay, but he wasn't a dog guy. And we got a dog because of me. I was really a sick kid, and I ended up at this farm where the guy was a guy who dealt with allergies, and the wife was a breeder of horses and dogs. And I stayed with them a week, and I lived in the barn, getting exposed to as many allergens as possible. And one of the dogs had a litter, and Runt was really attracted to me. And so the lady gave me that dog, saying, "You were such a good boy and you helped me so much, and I can't sell this guy. So here." And my mom was, "Oh, goody, goody." And my dad was, "Okay, we live out in the country." And he says, "Okay, it's your responsibility, your dog, you got to take care of him, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Okay." So for 10 years I did, but then I went away, and the dog became my father's best friend.
How about that?
Right. I mean, he always liked him, but he just didn't want to take care of him. Right. So, and that's how it goes. And that dog lived to be 32 years old.
Well, Bella lived a long time.
Yeah, Bella lived 27. Yeah.
Yeah, I was amazed. She was really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was a real cool dog.
Yeah, she stayed 100% until like a few days before. She kind of, one day I came down and she was just lying there looking at me like, okay. And then she went and dug a hole. And when I came back looking for her, homie said, "Oh, she's over here." Went over and she had dug her own grave.
Oh my.
And when she died, I came, homie came upstairs, kind of nudged me awake, and we went down, and he showed me that she was in her grave.
Wow.
And I had 2 bags of concrete that I was going to fill up a hole in the basement, and I basically mixed it up and poured it over her, so she would be encased.
That was the thing to do.
Yep.
So she wouldn't be disturbed.
Yep. So she wouldn't be disturbed. And then I covered her up with a lot of dirt and threw a little more concrete on top of that, and then a little more dirt. And so she's been there now, at least a good 8, 9, 10 years since, 2000.
Wow. Now, what about homie? You gave him away, right?
Yeah, I had a friend up there in where's all the hippies live on top of the mountain where they have the Floyd. Yeah, I had a friend that had a Floyd. He had a goat farm, and that was the place for him.
So, perfect place for him.
Yeah, and they had kids and way up the road, and they needed a dog, and he fit the bill.
And homie just fit right in.
Yep. So I left him there for about a month. I was still pretty sick. And then when I went up to visit him, and He saw the car. He ran down along the road, and I opened the door, and he jumped right in. Like, oh well, that was fun. So I'm ready to go.
That doesn't surprise me for Homie.
Yes. So I you know, I said, come on, let's go visit the peeps. So he jumped out of the car. We went up there, and then I sat him down and said, no, I just came here to say, this is it. These are your peeps now, and I'm not going to be seeing you anymore. And he looked at me and looked at them and kind of shrugged and said, yeah, okay. And so, I got in the car, instead of him running after me like in the movie Shane. No, it wasn't that. He sat next to the peeps as everyone was waving goodbye, and that was the last I saw of Homie.
Well, as it should be.
Right. Exactly.
And but Bella, I was very, very impressed with her.
She was a one in a zillion dog.
How'd you get her?
Oh, I was doing a demographic thing in South Carolina, up in the hill country, and I was lost out there in the middle of nowhere, and I was going down a county road. I was going over a bridge over a stream, or a big stream or river, and there was a guy with a canvas bag, and it looked like it had snakes in it. It was like, there was something in it that was bouncing around inside. And I pulled over to the side, and the guy looked at me. I said, so what's in the bag? And he goes, oh, and he opens it up and looks in there, and there was 2 puppies, Bella and her sister. And her sister was like, do, ba, ba, boo, boo, didn't even have a care in the world. And Bella looked straight in my eyes and said, get me out of here. I'll be the best dog. I'll do whatever you say. Just, he's going to throw us in the river. Get us. And I looked at him and said, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to throw them in the river. I said, what? I said, they're too cute. I don't want them. You want them? Here, they're yours. And he put the bag in my hand. And I was sitting in the car, and I just kind of took it through the window, put it down in the footwell of the passenger seat. And I said, okay, and drove away. And I asked him, so how do I get back to, whatever road? And he said, oh, go this way, go that way, go. And so I drove out of the neighborhood, and both of them popped out. And Bella jumped up on the seat and sat there like she's looking around, like, looking at her empire. And I called the other one Dummy. And Dummy couldn't even get out of the bag.
Really?
Yes, he couldn't get out of the bag. I mean, could have. I mean, it wasn't tied up. It was just, down there, and so it fell asleep in the bag, and that was fine. And we drove and drove and drove and found a place, and stopped at a motel, got the motel, got parked in front, put him in the bag, took him in there, kind of washed him off in the bathtub. Kept them in the bathroom, and they were great. They didn't make a noise. They didn't make a sound. Went to sleep, woke up, let them bounce around a little bit, put them back in the bag, and we went back to the school. And actually, weren't at school. I had them before the school when I was living in Vinton. Remember Vinton?
Yeah.
Yep. I had a bunch of little houses in Vinton, and I was living in one of them. And it went to a point where, okay, and I started working the Floyd Fest. Chris and his wife, first year at Floyd Fest, this electrician I knew was going to be their electrician, but he didn't want to drive all the way up there. So he told Chris about me, and I became Floyd Fest's first electrician. The other guy had papers, and so he signed whatever needed to be signed, but I was, and I got my crew of volunteers, all girls, and the puppies were bouncing around, having a good old time. And, that went on for about 4 or 5 months, getting ready for the first Floyd Fest. And it was just so much fun. And I lived up there most of the time instead of going back and forth. And Chris had friends who were farmers, their backhoes and their this and that. And this one guy says, I like this dog. And it was Stupid, right? And he had a goat farm. And so he took Stupid, and Stupid went from Stupid to goat dog, because stupid thought it was a goat. It tried to baa like a goat. So goat dog stayed with that guy, and then I kept Bella for another 19 years or more. She died at 27, and she was in great shape until the week she conked out.
Okay, I think I thought I almost lost you.
Okay, how about now?
I got you now. So she became the goat herder.
Yeah, goat dog. Yep. And that she fit in perfect. And that guy knew the other family that took Homie.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Bella was very special. She had to be with you.
Yep.
And Homie just kind of showed up, didn't he?
Right. I always thought Bella was a lesbian, and then she got pregnant and had 7 puppies. And Homie was, all the rest were black like her and had white stars like on their chest or on their face, and they were like these noble movie stars of dogs. And I went to a friend of mine in Fort Lauderdale. I used to go to. Lost you. Anyway, let's see if he calls back.
But no, I'm really glad that you rescued Bella.
Hey, hold on a second, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Marcia.
Al,
Yes, darling.
is it all right if we adjust to the morning?
Oh, of course it is. Yes, that would be better. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
What time?
10? Would 10 be all right?
10 would be perfection.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, not a problem. I'm always very flexible.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, babe. Later.
Bye.
Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. Are you back?
I'm here.
That somebody's gonna look at the property, and I'm moving forward on that.
It's going to sell fast.
Yeah.
It's going to sell fast, and you'll be out of there, in
Right.
record time. We can't make any more dirt.
No. And the other guy, I mean, he's obnoxious, but he's not that obnoxious. And he's no more obnoxious than the really rich people. This entity called Watoga Larry something bought up one whole corner of the lake and about 2,000 acres or more, and it was all tops of the hill going down to the water, and there were no roads, and they just, where the closest farm road was, they just dug into it, and they have about 400 lots. Now you put 400 really rich people up there, and they've got them all done, and the electricity's in and all that, and they have their little boat marinas for those 400 lots, and it already has changed the natural order of the lake. But you put that many people over in that one place, and that's only one of 20 other places that they have that they're going to do that to. Right. So they probably put in easy $10 million, if not more, just for that little corner. So that's why it's really obvious that this is laundering money. And because they have no, it could be Putin's money for all I know. It's like, because they did this amazing amount of work without any real, we have to sell this shit now,
Yeah, there was no rush to do so.
But there was a rush to spend the money, though.
Follow the money.
Yep.
Well, how many acres do you have at your place?
About 4, give or take. I have the biggest lot.
Okay. Well, you had a bigger parcel, which you sold chunks off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you kept the best part.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, most people thought it was the worst part because it was a funky holler and it was like the sump pump of the 4 mountains. But it was the flattest spot. And my driveway goes in and out. Everyone else's goes up the side of a cliff. And so,
You don't want.
yes,
You don't want.
right, exactly. So it's, and people are like, oh, you can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. And no, I kind of checked it out. I mean, there were things that I wasn't, reticent of because there was nobody here. I didn't have to worry about anything. You know, it's not until people started to come in and complain that that's why I'm out of here. You know, so,
Well, it has served its purpose.
yeah, you know, I'm saying here 18 years, and if everything stayed as it was, all it would be is that I would stay here, get older, and die.
Yeah, that's not your final spot.
No, so it's pretty obvious I got something else to do, and I'm going to go off and do it. So this is just the blessing of moving me forward.
That it is.
Yeah.
John, it was just so bizarre how he came into possession of the schoolhouse.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, that's what it was, and you know, the universe needed John to be there because he fixed everything that needed to be fixed.
Oh, he dumped a lot of money in that place.
Oh yeah, I mean, not like ridiculous amounts like the rich people around here, but he put a good 40, 50 grand into fixing everything.
Well, and he's got a nice place now.
Yeah. Oh, amazing place, right? And the thing that's keeping him to get the big dollars is the road up there.
Oh, the cliff that runs up the side of that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, the county more than once said, "Hey, if you allow us, we'll take it over and take care of it." And people said, "Oh no." I mean, maybe they should say yes, and then you know, it would get, you know, fixed. But the counties know. I mean, the road that was the county up to where the 2 mile long stream bed is, they screwed that up. I mean, when they were fixing it one time, they were putting culverts in, and they put them all in the wrong place. And I said, hey, you know, if you just move this culvert 2 feet over here, it'll be perfect. If you put it where you're going to put it, it will rip the road up. And they said, well, it says right here on the report, this is where we're going to put it. This is where we're going to put it. I said, okay. You know, and of course, it ripped the road up.
Well, you know, drainage.
Right.
You know, that water's got to go somewhere. It's powerful stuff.
Oh man, that's the whole secret of. I mean, the road here is destroyed. You know, the blacktop has been destroyed, and the you know, the other road, the access road, which is stone. I just go up it with a rake, and rake. You know, where the water's, you know, going to rip the road apart. I make a little swell so the water goes off the road. And I did that for the last 4 years because up until, you know, 6 years ago, I really wasn't here all the time. You know, I was here maybe, you know, 6 months of the year. But that's all I do is with a little rake.
Well, you know, with the winters and everything else, it's okay to let the place go.
Oh yeah, baby. I'm
That's
letting it
not
go.
user friendly for you at this stage of your life.
Right, exactly. So that's where I'm going. So you're in a good spot. You just you know, enjoy every second, you lucky guy. And so the girls, are they coming to America, or what's up with the girls?
Well, it's really interesting. Suji's in college right now. She's a freshman. Minji's still in school. She's not in college yet.
Right.
She's younger. I think Minji's going to be staying in Korea.
Okay.
Suji has an interest in travel. She wants to study abroad. And, you know, basically the house, the third story, the best room in the whole house is up there. I mean, there's a full bath. It's a beautiful room. And there's a nice view of the lagoon behind the house. I mean, it's very private. It's a great place to be. And I'm hoping she's going to come because in South Korea, there are so many people. There's just no opportunity to do anything.
Right.
And
Well,
if
with
you're,
you, you could be her sponsor, and you should start getting that paperwork in line.
Well, the thing about it is, you know, we have a relationship. I've known her for a long time. The Culinary Institute here, if she wanted to get a job in the baking industry, these people can provide that reference and get her where she needs to go.
Right.
The hospitality industry, that's why this building was built, because someone has to be a chef. Someone
Right.
has to be a pastry chef. You know,
Yep.
someone has to be there for the hospitality industry because that's what Hilton Head is all about.
Right.
And one of my golf instructors, his name's Jim Hoff. He's multi-millionaire, owns all these golf courses. Really funny guy. And he goes, the average age in this area is deceased. dead ones.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, you're a good example of that. You're a dead guy.
Yeah, I'm a Walking Dead guy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
You and I are the Walking Dead guys.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we both died. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Yep.
And dying's nothing.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm writing about that right now in my ear hair novel. I'm gonna try and figure out how to because you've sent me things on the dude awake 42 at Gmail. You got a lot of stuff on that. I'm just gonna drop that novel in so you can take a read.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Right. So because on email I can send you 300 pages without a blink of an eye. That's not a big deal.
Well, also too, with the way computers are right now, you can actually dictate a book.
Oh yeah, but you have to be online. See, that's my real problem. And actually, I like typing because I can type. I could be blind and still type. I know how to type without looking
I
at.
can only write by using a keyboard. That's
Yeah.
the only way I can do it.
Yeah.
It just flows from me with the keyboard.
Off the tips of my fingers. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, put a pen or pencil in my hand, forget it.
Yeah,
But
I
you
can't
need
even read
keyboard.
my own writing.
I can't either.
Right.
I have to use a keyboard.
Right.
That's how I write. My hands cannot keep up with my mind.
Right. So there's that, and my writing is a two-step process. One is what I call a clipboard, where I write down ideas and then I cut and paste into the story.
That's a good way to do it.
Because that way I don't have to restrict myself to the flow of the story. Some idea comes in, I can write it over there, and when it's time to drop it into the story is where I can do it. So that's my little process. And then the third part is the editing to make the flow between what I'm writing in the story and what I drop into it. I kind of make it. It's like with the rake in the road, I just kind of get the flow going. So.
Well, one guy who was a master storyteller was Paul Harvey.
Yeah, he was great.
He was, and he had his own idiosyncrasies and all this other stuff. But anyway, the thing that was so interesting with him is he would start the story in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I started doing that with messages, like when I was in Korea.
Right.
And people just loved it.
Right.
And I would just tie it back, and I got people to think. And the senator's office, I haven't heard anything from them. My congressional, they took it on. Of course, it went to Virginia. They didn't even tell me when. They go, well, we're not going to look at it. There's no new evidence. That was after 2-year delay, and then 3 years, 5 years.
Right.
Okay, that was the third time. So, okay, I'm getting it. And now I've got another guy, and I've explained everything to him. And I have his phone number, his email. I haven't heard anything from him for a few weeks. And I'm just going to have to talk to Big Tim Scott in person.
That and the other side of the coin is really in America, as you said, follow the money. You're gonna at some point have to find yourself a real lawyer who wants to sue the crap out of these guys, and you're gonna need to find your own pit bull to just have them go after him.
Well, the accountability.
Right.
See, that's the thing. And the Army, they've intentionally delayed and denied, and they would like me to die and delete this whole thing.
Right. That's exactly it. They just want you to die.
Yeah, and they almost shot us out of the sky. Went to the Gray Ladies Chapel. They pulsed the airplane.
Yep.
And the inspection panels were pushed in the wings. All the electronics were fried on the aircraft.
Yep.
We had 3 diodes that were keeping us in the air with the alternator. I had a hand crank down the landing gear. It was real.
Yep.
We had an emergency landing in Roanoke. I mean, it was really something. And I
And,
wanted to land earlier, but this guy wanted to keep going. He was piloting command, but we
Right.
got back. But they tried to shoot us down, man.
Right. And see, it's like this whole Ukraine thing is nothing is as it seems to be. Meaning
No.
there are deeper reason. I mean, there is no real reason why Vlad did what he did. And there is no real reason why the government in Ukraine is doing what it's doing, right? So,
Well, yeah, everyone who benefits. I mean, that's at the end of the day, however you define that, who benefits. But what's happening to the United States? Oh, we're sending all this stuff to Ukraine. Okay, we no longer have our war stocks.
Right. Exactly.
We don't have the Javelin missiles anymore.
Right.
We don't have any of this stuff. It'll take years if we can even get this stuff back. So
Right.
it has weakened us
Right.
where we can't fight.
And what's interesting, others see what I'm saying is that the real who benefits is Mr. Globaloni, right?
Sure.
The unipolar entity, right? That is not even described. You know, he's not got a seat at the UN or any place. You know, he's not even a Davos boy, but you can see his shadow. And or it's not even a he, it's a it. And so what has to go down is Russia has to be destroyed, the United States has to be destroyed, China has to be destroyed, EU has to be weakened, and the two entities, the two nation states that will come, and be supreme will be Japan and England.
Oh, for a moment there, I thought you were going to say Pakistan. Boy, what a relief.
Right. Well, Pakistan is going to nuke itself, basically.
Well, it's a real sad piece of real estate.
Yeah, well, that whole area is because it was where everything started.
Well, I was looking at the pathways that Alexander the Great came with his men,
Right.
and leaving Greece going to a crap hole like that
Right.
had to be the most depressing thing in the world.
But when he went there, it wasn't a crap hole.
Well, I actually saw the fortifications from his men
Right.
where they stood watch. Still there.
Right, still there.
And not much had changed.
Well,
since
you know,
that
the thing about Afghanistan is it is location, location, location. And if you're a European empire coming to go to South, Eurasia, you got to go through that place, and it's like a bus stop, and that's what he left it as, a bus stop.
That's a great place to get mugged.
Yeah, well, that's a bus stop, you know.
Yeah, it is. If you're gonna get mugged, trailways, they got rid of that. I think
Yep.
there's still a few greyhounds running around. But yeah, they're always in the seediest place.
Right.
You're gonna lose your shirt or your life.
Right.
Your shirt if you're lucky.
Right.
But Afghanistan, I talked to my mother recently. I said, I'm never going to talk to you this way again. And I basically told her what I went through
Right.
within just a matter of minutes. And I said, this is what it was. This is how it went down.
How long?
Yeah.
How long were you there?
8.5 months before my gallbladder blew up.
Right.
We were sent there for a year, and it was as clear as mud. We could have been there a year and a half, which would have been a death sentence to most of my soldiers.
Right.
Because you can't stay there that long. You're going to get killed.
Right.
That's just all there is to it.
How many people do you think American soldiers died there?
Well,
I mean, they say about 4,500.
Well, maybe you didn't physically die there, but you died of that later on.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Okay. So, you left, you said, okay, this is behind me. Well, you're screwed up mentally.
Right.
The burn pits have gotten you. You've got cancer. Your whole GI system is screwed up. More people have taken their lives than took their lives in Vietnam.
Right.
And that was like 52,000. So we're averaging, well, they don't count Texas, California, or maybe Illinois. But I think it's like 30 a day.
Mm.
And, they don't even know what they're counting.
Right.
But I mean, it's tens of thousands
Right.
of people.
What do you think in the 20 years, how many people did we push through that place? What, 1 million soldiers?
Oh, at least.
Right. So there are 1 million soldiers that are time bomb waiting to go.
Yeah. And now they're doing the burn pits. And earlier on, I was telling people, I was exposed to burn pits. And they're like, oh, no, you're burning all this plastic. You're releasing poison gases,
Right.
polyvinyl chloride, and all this other stuff. You're killing people.
Right. And it'd be one thing if it was one little garbage bag of stuff, but they were burning like 20, 30 tons a day.
Everything was destroyed.
Right.
And you lived in that filth. You ate in that filth. You slept in that filth. If you stayed in one spot long enough, you would contract cancer.
Right.
And there was this one woman who I went to 101st. She was doing a medical study in Iraq. It was like, this is a toxic place. And every place where the Russians was, you were eventually going to die of toxic exposures.
Right.
And that's really what got me. I mean, I had 2 organs rupture in 30 months. Have you ever heard that happening to anybody?
No.
No.
But I would say it wasn't just the toxicity, the chemical toxicity, but the emotional toxicity, the stress.
Oh, yeah. Oh, stress was a killer.
Yeah.
No sleep, poor diet. I mean, just being run to the ground, worked to death.
Right.
Yeah. When I was in California, I did the work of 5 men for 2.5 years. Yeah, everyone else is taking vacations and kicking back on Easy Street. I was there fighting to keep the soldiers alive, and the drill sergeants were killing them.
Right.
And they were like, well, you want to transfer? I said, no, if I transfer, people are going to die around here.
Right.
You got to keep me here. And the guy who came after me thought he'd be on Easy Street, and command, they got rid of him lickety split. And, after me, I mean, they got spoiled. And I remember one guy put down, well, this will be a hard act to follow. No, it'll be impossible.
Right.
Because I did more than anybody else, because I realized if I didn't, I would lose all these people. And I couldn't go on with my life losing people like that. It was best for me to take the hit to keep them alive and not be haunted by it the rest of my life.
Right. That's the motif of doing your best right there in the moment, not kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, and there were times where I'd have to fight for someone's life, and I would stand in front of a commander, and I was older than them, thank God. That helped a little bit. And, call off the dogs. Well, we're not seeing these problems.
Right.
You push this person too far, it's over. Stop it. They didn't like me talking to them that way.
Right.
And I did. Said, enough is enough. Stop it.
Yep.
And, hazing. That's what kills the Russian army is hazing.
Right.
And we haze our soldiers too. We just have different names for it.
Well, Stanley Kubrick's movie Full Metal Jacket, I think, really captured it the best.
Yeah, it did. It did. But I had a commander when I was in California, and I watched his second marriage go up in smoke. And he said, you can do anything in the Army. I'm like, yeah, of course you can. And he said something that really frightened me, really disturbed me. We make people do things. Yeah, you do. You totally ruin their lives.
Right. I mean, they
They
rewire their consciousness.
Right,
They stop them from being a human being.
Right.
Yep. So now it's and someone says, this whole bring it around to what's going on today. The only thing that's going to stop this ain't some geopolitical this or putting more economic restrictions on Russia. No, that's not going to right. What it is, everyone has to say no. In America, we just have to say no. We're not going to do this shit that you keep telling us to do.
It's like, okay, they're cutting off the fuel, they're cutting off the fertilizer.
Right.
Inflation is spiking through the roof.
Right.
JJ, we got to leave here in just a few minutes. And I'll tell you something, Russia's not suffering, the American people are.
Right. And that was done on purpose. And the people who are really going to suffer are the folks in the Mideast and Africa. I mean, there's, by next year, this time, there will be 1 billion people that have starved to death.
Well, this is the whole thing. We're going to have famine in the land of plenty.
Right.
And there was one of my church members, that was a saying of his, was famine in the land of plenty.
Right.
His name was Morris Reed Arrington. He has since passed. God bless his soul. Great guy. Great guy. High school graduate, Bedford, Virginia. Never left the place till the war came. There he was in Europe fighting the Nazis.
Right.
But the thing about it is this. You can't grow crops without fertilizer.
Well, I mean, you can, but you can't do it like with a light switch, meaning it would be...
You're not going to have the yields.
No, but you could if there's lots of different ways to farm. But once you've spent 120 years destroying the earth that you grow stuff in, nothing grows without fertilizer. But you could, like, if you took all the golf courses, no, that's worse because they tox those things out even worse. Like me, I have a lot of things growing in the woods, So there are lots of different ways, but you can't do it like a light switch. You can't get the same yield immediately, and
Well,
that's
industrial farming,
right.
requires raping the earth and fertilizing it and just killing everything.
And killing everything. Yep. And
that's what we do.
Right,
That's how we.
that's how we
produce food, and
farm.
That's why people contract cancer.
Right.
All this other crap. Yeah, I mean, we're poisoning ourselves
Right.
with chemicals.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that. And I'm standing right in front of the Culinary Institute of the South, which is, basically like the Culinary Institute of America. I mean,
Right.
this is the jewel crown of South Carolina. I'm standing right in front of this facility.
Well, so let's just cut to the chase. Your girl who's in college, what year is she in college?
Suji is a freshman, and she is basically the hospitality industry. She's studying baking.
Good. So, how well does she speak English?
Her English is good. I mean, she didn't have the chance to a private English academy.
Right.
But I mean, she writes me in English. She understands. Suji is the daughter of my heart. I mean, she is.
Well, then
when I
you
was in
need to
Korea-
get her there in the next year and a half.
Well, I agree. Well, one thing I'm doing is I'm helping her. Okay.
Right.
And I've told her, I said, look, just you got to be really responsible, and you got to think about the future. And there's a future here for you.
Right.
And I want her here.
Right.
I want her here. And I've had 4 souls on the other side who came and gave me messages. And one was a next door neighbor who was in World War II, Uncle CC. And he told me, get her, which was mean get Suji.
Right.
He told me that.
Right. And shit ain't gonna really hit. I mean, we're not gonna have a Ukraine in the United States. It's gonna be a slow death, and so.
Oh, it is.
And we won't have the starvation. There's, like I said, by this time next year, 1 billion people will have starved to death, right? But all it's going to be in America is things are going to be expensive. Rich won't care. Everybody else will get, like me. I'll get $40 worth of food, which will keep me alive. And because it's me, I can make it go a lot longer than. I mean, I eat everything I have. I mean, I don't go, oh, that's been, I haven't eaten that in 4 days. I have to throw it away. No, I recook it and eat it again. And,
Yes.
and so I can do that, but, so it'll be a slow death in America, and that's what they want. They want us to just because they want to squeeze every penny of profit out of this place before they cut it loose.
Oh yeah, well that's exactly what's taking place.
Right,
And
that's what's happening.
I concur with that. There was this one lady, and she was a dog lady, and this was in Bedford.
Yes? Still
we
there?
were very good friends,
Right?
and they would kill you, and that was the army. Kill you. She told me that,
Right.
and that was. And then there was.
You're dropping out there, kiddo.
House immediately. We didn't wait at all, and we walked in the house 5 minutes. We're buying it.
Right.
Today you can't do that.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. And then one of my friends, who's a psychic mechanic who I met at Westport, Hood Van, she came to me, "Can I help you now or help you later?" Well, if it's not now, there's not going to be a later. I said,
Right.
Help me now. So I mean, there have been messages that have come through, and those were all critical messages in their time. So we got the house. The Army, there was an attempt in my life, with the aircraft,
Right.
pulsing, electromagnetic pulse. Getting Suji, I have to get her here.
Right.
And you're right. I just have to get her here. But we have a home that she can come to.
Right. Right. So start to, look at what paperwork has to be, what you have to do to, be her, whatever you call it, her supporter or the person who's,
Sponsor, guardian,
yeah, right,
whatever.
whatever you want to call it, and start working on that paperwork. That's the most important paperwork. Because your your whole thing with the military, until you find that lawyer who's going to be your bulldog, your pit bull, you might as well just put that on hold. Put all the data in a safe place, and your real thing is your family, and then Sushi. getting there, being part of your family.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you. And the Great Ladies Chapel is bringing people together. This is a nonviolent way
Right.
of uniting the nation and recognizing losses and just go, we don't need to be doing this stuff anymore.
No. Because
It's
the
not
amount of money
accomplishing
and
anything.
amount of technology we put into it, we could bring peace on earth.
That's what we need is
Right.
peace on earth.
Yep. And so that has to be the logo, peace on earth, not, and peace on earth does not come through war.
No, it doesn't. Well, for the Essenes, my big thing was for the people and for the earth.
Yep.
And to bring them peace.
Right.
Not the broken cross.
Right.
Not that. But, you share that crust of bread.
Right.
You do this, you uplift, you do what you can. And, in the Army, I mean, the needs were so obvious to me. Because when I was in Bedford, I was on the ropes for 12 years.
Yep.
And I had 3 years in seminary. I mean, I had 15 bad years in a row.
Right.
Al. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know it. I lived there, so yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was the church mouse. At least had more going for it than I did.
Right.
And I survived all that.
Right.
And with the Army, I had dreams about being back in the Army. I saw myself in Afghanistan years before I went there. And I saw myself as a captain with lapel,
Right.
with the crosses on my lapel, and all that stuff. And it all happened.
Right.
But I was obedient. But with my work with Bedford, I was so miserable with the school system. I resigned my position. I did not sign the contract. I couldn't even do that. I was so miserable.
Right.
And there was no other opportunity. And that's when I put in for the Army, and it came open.
Yep.
And I mean, it almost cost me my life. It did cost me.
It did cost you your life, but it also gave you. You wouldn't be where you are today. It's like me. I was thinking about all the other places I could have been. And I could have stayed there, married this person, been that, had that, but I wouldn't be the guy I am today.
True.
So you wouldn't be where you are today if you hadn't gone through all of that. And that's kind of what the storyline is.
Well, you're absolutely correct. Mom and Dad, Dad will be 97 in July, and things are changing. He's doing reasonably well. My sister goes, when you're in the right place, everything just happens. And everything has happened to us the right way here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great place. And my wife, here's your house. Okay. And I got paperwork today from the insurance company, and they go, oh, we're valuing your house now at $527,000. And here we're extending you the privilege of paying a higher premium for your homeowner's insurance.
Right.
And the whole thing is, money's not worth anything anymore.
Right, exactly.
Money means nothing anymore.
Yep.
We bought the house at 314. The last house that sold in our development was guesstimated at 460. That was the appraisal. And the guy who had it says, no, you got to pay me 20 more. So I went for 480. And, gosh, 5 years ago, the houses were in the 200s.
Right.
Okay. And, we're very, very fortunate, but we're in a great location. It's unlike Afghanistan. We're in the perfect location.
Yep.
We really are. But I give thanks for y'all. And, things, I still have, a lot of things to go through.
Yep.
There's a lot on me, but, it's sustainable.
Right. And it's not only sustainable, it's worthwhile doing.
It is. Well, I watch my son.
Right.
He's happy. He's running around with good kids.
Yep.
He's 3 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 54 pounds.
So he's going to be 5 soon, or 6?
5 in November.
5 in November. Yeah. So.
Excuse me. No, 6 in November.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's 5 already now. So.
Yeah.
So is he reading?
He'd rather play.
Right.
We read books together. He's picking stuff up, but I mean, he's just not really. He knows his alphabet. He knows his numbers. He's just playing.
Right. He's having a good time.
Sure. Well, why shouldn't he?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. He's learning more important things by playing, by interacting with other kids, and being a human.
Right. And everybody knows him. There are a lot of positive relationships. He's got an outgoing personality. He's a nice kid. He's kind.
Right. Well,
And he can be, a little crazy too, but that's all part of it.
right. He's a kid.
So I'll tell you what, I got to scoop him up. He's got a soccer game this afternoon. I got to get him out of the park and get him home, let him rest for a little bit.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Good talking to you. Glad you popped in here, and I will speak to you later. And I always got your back.
Well, you've been wonderful, and I've done what I could. Just right now, I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
Yep.
Okay, but I give thanks for you, and Bella came to you during her hour of need, and you saved her life.
Right.
But she was an amazing dog. Like when I met Bella, I was like, whoa, this is not a normal dog.
Right. This is not a normal dog. Yep.
No, you could tell.
Yep.
Not her, homie, yeah, normal, abnormal, what have you. I mean,
Right.
He was just a homeboy.
Right.
But Bella was deep.
Yep.
She was a spiritual companion for you.
Yep. And other people, you need a dog. I said, well, not really, not until, and I said, you got a dog you want me to have? Well, bring her by and let me meet them. And if we have a connection, maybe, but otherwise, no,
Right. And my first German Shepherd was almost killed by its first owners. We had the same birthday. They kicked him. And he was grieving himself to death. And
Right.
I came back and got him. And I had to feed him by hand to bring him back.
Yep.
He's just going to die.
Right.
And I understand that. Al, I hate to go, but we'll
Okay.
talk soon, okay?
Later,
Much
babe.
love to you.
Yep.
Take care, buddy.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Well, that's my buddy, Lucky Guy. And he's like, anybody who wants, oh, my life is so terrible, man. His story is like mind-boggling. And it's going to be in one of my novels. So I'm writing a series of 5 novels: Ear, Hair, Legacy, Legend, and then the other 2 are work in progress. So and they all intermix. It's all, so the first one, Ear, Hair, is like giving the reader the 411 on what's going on and who the characters are, and doesn't really give anything away or even have a plot. I mean, it kind of gives you a plot, but the plot of what's your everyday, right? So what it is. So anyway, and so Fish says, hey. So that was my good friend, LG, and he was a minister, went through ministry school, and instead of going to he's a real tall white guy, looks great, poster boy, and he went where all the poor people were who really needed somebody. He was there for 7 years, and that tore him up. And then he went to the military on 9/11 and was a chaplain, and he was out there in the field, for 10 years, getting blown up, and he kept saving people's lives. And the his superiors didn't like the fact that he was more there for the soldiers than it was for the administration of the military. And that's where we are today. And like I said, we're looking at the big splat, right? And it's going to come in chunks. It already has. 9/11 is part of the chunk, but really, we've been at the big splat since 1492, right? And people are, that cancel culture, blah blah blah. No, it's like, look at everything. Go read Howard Zinn. He's a good place to start. A lot of other great people who have written some really great insights on where and what we are. And another person to go read, Joseph P. Farrell. Go to Dark Journalist and go watch the last 2 Joseph P. Farrell shows for Dark Journalist. And what else can I say? Catherine Austin Fitz of the Solero Report. Truly Graceful, another great YouTube. And that's about it. We're getting close here, 59. So when it hits 60:06, I'm gonna say goodnight. we had a nice little show here. And 3 of you. So come on, throw something into PayPal. I really need it. I have Zip Cash, PayPal, the dudewake42@gmail. Dudewake42@gmail. People, I don't want to do it. Well, get a hold of me at dudewake@gmail. I'll give you my PO box. But I really, it's hard to live on $400, and I just had a little more done to my car, and so I really, really, really need some assistance. So please, 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 and I want to thank the poor who constantly throw stuff in, but that's usually somewhere around $50 a month because those guys have no money, but I can depend on them. It's like really, thank you, thank you, thank you, and it shows that it works. These folks send it to me on PayPal and the due to wake 42 at Gmail, all one thing, lowercase. Due to wake 42 at Gmail. You want me to read your palms? Send me a picture of your palms. I'd love to have more chat here. I love the fact that Fish said, "Hey, hey, 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 hey," back to you, Fish. I'll call you later. And I'm getting out of here now. I got things to do. Okay. Okay.